Umar, the mystical ruler of the Dark Dimension. Doctor Strange has been the talk of the town these days with the major success of the film Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. We have previously seen him battle many foes, including Dormammu, the sorcerer from the Dark Dimension, who he fought extensively in a time loop battle. The Dark Dimension and its people are thus not unknown or unfamiliar to Strange. At the very end of the Multiverse of Madness movie, in a mid-credit scene, Doctor Strange is seen following a sorceress into a dark dimension to help fix an incursion that he had inadvertently triggered. All of this points to greater evils to come from the dark dimension and lie in wait for him, and one of them just happens to be the Lord of Chaos, Dormammu's sister, Umar, belonging to the same dimension that he does. She is a firehouse of power with a unique penchant for destruction and has a complicated relationship with Doctor Strange. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Now let's begin. Umar, sister of Dormammu, Origins explored. Sennefer, a Faltine, gave birth to Umar along with her older twin brother, Dormammu. Now, the Faltine are creatures of pure magical energy who reside in their own dimension. Every time a Faltine hatched, the new beings called scions were birthed as perfect replicas of their parents or their genitors. And that was the way things had been throughout their entire history. The spawns in this case, however, were unique in nature. They desired physical matter and a physical existence. Unlike Sennefer, having no regard for their genitor, they transmuted Sennefer from energy to matter when he tried to stop them from pursuing physical matter, ultimately killing him. The remainder of the Faltine became enraged at this violent behavior, and Dormammu and Umar were expelled from the Faltine dimension. The two exiled Faltine ultimately entered a dimension known as the Dark Dimension, where the dominant social class was a multiracial group of wizards known as Ruks. After exploring other dimensions for an undefined period of time, their monarch, the Wizard King Ulnar I, fantasized about resuming their glory days of conquest and conflict. Ulnar was befriended by Umar and Dormammu, who played on his desire to regain the glory of the Dark Dimension and manipulated him. They demonstrated to Ulnar how to conquer other dimensions and link them to his own. Using this knowledge, Ulnar enslaved multiple universes and incorporated them into his own empire. Ulnar eventually broke the boundary between his dimension and the Mindless Ones, thanks to the rogue Faltines. However, what he thought would be an easy conquest turned out to be the nail in his coffin. The Mindless Ones are a horde of soulless brutes whose sole purpose is to destroy everything in their path. So you can only imagine what they did when their boundary was breached. They attacked Ulnar and his people, and their onslaught repelled the Ruks, and many were killed, including Ulnar. Taking advantage of his vacuum, any wizards who stood in their way were killed or expelled by Dormammu and Ulnar, who wanted the power for themselves. The Mindless Ones were then separated from the rest of the world by a massive mystical barrier erected by the twin. All of this resulted in the concentration of all power of the Dark Dimension to be in their hands. However, Umar was weakened as a result of the struggle, and she became subject to her brother. Dormammu rose to the throne of the Dark Dimension as regent and monarch. Umar elected to remain in her human form while she reverted to the Faltine form of flame. Both of them claimed the Dark Dimension to be their new realm or home. Umar appears for the first time in issue number 150 in the comic book series Strange Tales, published in the year 1966. The feature, The Conquest of Kalu, showcases the end of the final defeat of Doctor Strange's major adversary at the time, Kalu, and the ushering of a new era from a new villain, Umar. It turns out that the evil sorcerer Kalu, who was the mortal enemy of both the Ancient One and his disciple, Doctor Strange, had cast a major spell on the two of them, hoping to kill them once and for all with it. Kalu and the Ancient One were born in a kingdom called Kamarta, in the land of the Himalayas, and their rivalry had started there, then stretched across time and space, as Kalu continued his quest for power and the Ancient One. Later, with the help of Doctor Strange, fought against his dangerous antics. While Kalu's spell was definitely strong, Strange and his teacher of Guru, the Ancient One, had managed to evade the spell and were traveling through time, trying to find a way to defeat the evil Kalu, because an angry evil sorcerer was also a handful. Kalu in the meantime tried to look for them and destroy them before they had an opportunity at all to regroup and launch a counterattack on him. However, Kalu is not the villain this video is about. Kalu is defeated for good by the Matter student duo, but obviously, would heroes really be heroes if there were no villains? As Kalu dies, rises a new villain, Umar. She rises as the Mindless Ones once again go on a rampage in the Dark Dimensions as Dormammu falls from power and Umar rises from the carnage. a raven-haired beauty with an alluring aura laced with a timeless evil. She wielded such power that even mindless ones were afraid of her and returned back to their dimension at her command. Umar would go on to become one of the principal villains facing off against Doctor Strange. She is best known for a constant involvement in the tussle for the throne of the Dark Dimension and planning evil quests with her twin brother, Dormammu. However, it is said that she is much more powerful than her brother and has always been underestimated by him. Umar gave way to a new era of Doctor Strange's adventures. Her fight with Doctor Strange. Like her sorcerer twin brother, Umar has also gone up against Doctor Strange time and time again. Her powers are more than enough to clash with him and even take him down. At one point, Dormammu, as usual, was up to evil schemes and tried to invade Earth's dimension to effectively take over the Earth in his quest to gain control for the entire universe. However, he didn't succeed, as Doctor Strange stopped him. But this led to something else entirely. With his defeat, the spell he had used to banish his sister, Umar, broke, setting her free a long time after her brother had banished her. Upon her release, even though her brother had been the one to banish her, she wanted to avenge him and thus decided to go up against Doctor Strange. She used her daughter's relationship with Doctor Strange to lure him into a trap. Her daughter, Clea, was in a romantic relationship with Doctor Strange, and thus she went as far to hold her own daughter hostage in the Dark Dimension to lure in Doctor Strange all the way back to the Dark Dimension. They engaged in a battle, and it was clear at that time that Doctor Strange was weaker and Umar was the superior being. However, an entity called Sage, also known as Waritas, intervened between the two of them and showed Umar how Faltini experienced, which drove her to the brink of insanity, after which Strange finally defeated her with the help of a demon called Zom, which he had summoned. However, this was not the end of their altercation with each other. After that, Umar returned to becoming Dormammu's subordinate. She aided him in his plots and assisted him in his resurrecting after he was killed in combat. Umar controlled the Dark Dimension when Dormammu was away, until she was deposed by Clea, who found the truth about her parentage during the conflict. Dormammu reappeared to depose Clea. Clea and Doctor Strange managed to get away from Dormammu, but they ran upon Umar, who wanted to assassinate Doctor Strange. Umar realized that Clea was also affected by her magic. Clea said that they had been married and that they had had a supernatural bond. Umar halted her assault and told Clea that she couldn't harm her own daughter. She then aided Strange and Clea in their assassination of Dormammu. Umar duped her brother by suggesting that they split the Dark Dimension's rulership into two pieces. Umar banished Dormammu to his half, the kingdom of the mindless ones. When he accepted, with Dormammu by her side, Umar came to terms with Strange and Clea and controlled the Dark Dimension. At the same time, her daughter and Doctor Strange returned to Earth, having made peace with her. What makes Umar so lethal? Umar possesses a brilliant mind and a great grasp of magical wisdom. She has a lot of potential when it comes to controlling magic, which she can use to create shields, move objects, and summon creatures. She can use her magic to perform feats of interdimensional teleportation, size transformations, time travel, transmutations, energy manifestations such as powerful concussive blasts, magically constructed animated beings, telepathy, illusion casting, limited amounts of mind control, and so on. Her abilities dwarf Doctor Strange and rival Dormammu's, but she lacks the intense control over the energies that she channels. She is immortal and thousands of years old due to her mystical nature, and she transmits this feature onto her daughter Clea, who has an altered aging process, keeping her forever young. Umar has the physical appearance of a 30 to 40-year-old woman, but because of her alien physique, she has a much denser body, and thus much tougher and bulkier than the Earthling. She frequently has smaller demons serve her, which is a risky technique because, more often than not, these minions mess up their missions and make it tougher for her. Dormammu recently reaped tremendous cosmic power from the essence of eternity and utilized it to recreate reality in his own image. Umar patiently accepted his vices, and when Doctor Strange led the defenders against Dormammu, she ended up capturing and loving the Hulk. Keeping an agreement that she would restore Dormammu's modifications to reality, Umar surreptitiously transferred Dormammu's abilities into herself and assisted the defenders in defeating her brother. Umar transformed Dormammu into the form of a pitiful human and banished him to Earth as a punishment for her brother, leaving her as the queen of the Dark Dimension. Umar's head was ringed by a plume of mystic fire, the fires of Regency, as monarch of the Dark Dimension. It's unclear how long she'll be able to use her celestial skills, but they are hers for the time being. Interestingly enough, this Maiden of Darkness was also Hulk's lover and has had crossovers with the giant green monster. She is a terrifying foe, and her appearance in Doctor Strange films and the multiverse is definitely something that the fans are looking forward to. She is one hell of a villain and another Marvel femme fatale who is dark, alluring, and deadly. What makes her the most dangerous? Is that she'll stop at nothing. In fact, she doesn't even hesitate before destroying people and planets in the blink of an eye. As a cosmic entity of this intense caliber with her specific penchant for violence and destruction, she is easily one of the most powerful beings in the Marvel Universe. Do you think she deserves to appear in upcoming Doctor Strange movies? Let us know in the comment sections below. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one, and be safe. Thanks, everyone.